Well, you can tell by that what this is about. And yeah, you get me another spot here. We'll see how long I last. But we got the news today that Brother Peter Tork of the Monkees died. Now, yeah, you know, I make those videos when people, musicians, artists who are important to my life, I talk about them. And the Monkees, without a doubt, were very important to my upbringing. The Beatles, you know, the way that happened, just kind of set it up so that, you know, we were primed. You know, a kid like me was just ready, even though it was manufactured. It was, they did it right. They had it right. The music was so good, and the characters. Peter Tork was my favorite. He was from the beginning. But there's so many things that I can say when I get thinking about this stuff. It's evening time again, so it's been a long day. It's been a good day. My younger brother who lives in town came by. We had a good visit, and we talked deeply. I'll get back to this. I really appreciate my family. I really appreciate having other people who have had a similar experience to mine, so we know we're not crazy. We talk about things, you know, we talked deeply about politics and just, you know, events, just the general weirdness of the world today. So good to see my brother, so good. But as a kid, myself and my two sisters, we were heavily into the Monkees. Myself, it was the music. I really was pretty oblivious to this idea of attraction to people and music. As a kid and a preteen, it was, looking back at it, Peter Tork was my favorite Monkee because he seemed the most genuine of the characters, the most down-to-earth, real human. My sisters were, my older sister, Stephanie, we were just talking, and you see this, you said it, she was crazy about Peter Tork. But we shared that, and the shows, you know, so many cool things on those shows, you know. It could be little life plays, you know, life lessons, and then the interesting guests that they would have. Frank Zappa. They had so many, you know, they don't come to mind. Zappa always stands out. When he came on and Zappa played Nesmith and vice versa. So, besides this, I still have Monkees albums that are in the closet. That one happens to be out. This one happens to be out too because someone sent this to me, Good Times, a recent album that they made, which Peter is on, and it's a good. The Monkees were consistent. This was 2016. And of note, of the Monkees, Peter was the oldest. He was a real musician besides Mike Nesmith. Monkees actually performed some of his songs. I'm pretty sure one of them is on here. Is it For Pete's Sake? Is that Peter Tork? Yep, For Pete's Sake, which is a cool track on here. And again, this label being basically invented, I think, for the Monkees. These records, the labels, you always knew what it was. There were very few other artists on the Cold Gems label. I looked around and found some of my thrift store singles too. We had all of these as kids, but these aren't the copies from my childhood, but I still have a bunch of their singles. And that's a fun way to play stuff like this. Classic golden oldies from the 60s. I'm a Believer. These were great double A sides. Not Your Stepping Stone. You know that Voice and Heart, Carole King and Jerry Goffin, Neil Diamond. Voice and Heart, they were some of the writers who were writing this great stuff for the Monkees. And great songs. Pleasant Valley Sunday with Words on the B-side. Which one is this? This one, yeah, a little bit me, a little bit you. Is that Neil Diamond? Sure is. As you say in the UK, crackin' song, aye? Was that lower? See, I've never been to England, and I understand there's the different accents. I shouldn't even be trying. What's the B-side? The Girl I Knew Somewhere. The other thing about the Monkees that I thought was cool was my sisters and I think they were, yeah, we talked about it. We recognized Mickey Dolenz right away because we remember him from Circus Boy. He was a child actor, and we watched that show on TV when we were little kids. You guys remember that show with Mickey Dolenz? Circus Train or something like that? Valerie. And then Davy Jones, too. He had records at Tapioca Tundra. Again, I came across his singles on the Colpix label before the Monkees started. So once again, because all of us, we were music nerds. We were primed for the Monkees. I was showing this online. The Last Train to Clarksville, that was a huge hit, but the B-side is what I like. Take a Giant Step. It's a rather unique song. It's got harpsichord and kind of a oboe and this Indian sounding motif, and the words, someone asked if perhaps the words were, oh no, that's Last Train to Clarksville, never mind. Here's one that I think this was a lesser known of their singles, A Man Without a Dream, but it's a good song. And the B-side, Teardrop City, really good song, but not a well-known Monkees song. These are the ones I found. I'm pretty sure I have more. In Daydream Believer with Going Down on the other side. Did I show that? Tapioca Tundra. And I have this. This is one of the other singles, or one of the other records on the Cold Jim's label that's not the Monkees. My glasses busted. Hang in there, glasses. See, they broke. I get them. Give them a pair. Sajid Khan, Getting to Know You. He had a TV show called Maya about an elephant, and apparently produced by Screen Gems Columbia. So they tried to, I guess he was a teen idol, I guess. I mean, that's a big part of what this stuff was about. So I wanted to just share a few thoughts about the importance of the Monkees. Like I said, it's obvious they were manufactured, but it was done right. Good songwriting. Don Kirshner was one of those people like Clive Davis, who was, a Svengali when it came to music, and having a good ear when it came to knowing something that would be catchy. Not that it would be necessarily good, although both Davis and Kirshner discovered, or are credited with discovering, a lot of major artists and hit makers. Mostly they had golden ears. They a lot of great stuff. Whitney Houston, the Archies, you name it, okay? I had come across another pile of these CDs I was telling you about that years ago. I think it was probably in the last 10 years. I think it was about 10 years ago. But I would go online and find stuff and burn these compilations of artists. And let me try to make my glasses functional and tell you, for example, who is on this one here. Can I do this right quick? Yeah. Just, out of boredom, or just really kind of sublimating, that word means. Who's on this one? Melanie? She has a song, Melanie Safka. She had the big hits, but she has a song that was on an album called Again, which I just love. Chris Squire's on here. Thomas DiMuzio from Smithereens. And then there's this other stuff. Eamon Tobin, Francois Hardy, Gene Clark from the Byrds, Mogwai, New Trolls, the Italian band. All that stuff, you know, on here, songs, you know. Here's another one where I would just make these CDs, and then this is one I can keep because thankfully I did not put a label on the CD, so I didn't have to test to make sure it plays. But this one has everyone from Mew, a bunch of cuts from Mew, to Earth and Fire, Boards of Canada, the Flower Pot Men, Mighty Baby, Earth and Fire, the band. I just heard that the keyboard is from Earth and Fire. Dutch band, I just showed you their album. Song of the Marching Children. I caught online, someone said that the keyboardist just passed away. I hadn't actually followed up on that. But seeing this brought that to mind. One more here. Baras Manco from, I think he's from Turkey, is on here. Andromeda, Camel, some Santana is on here. Couple of Prague, Embryo, Fat Mattress, the band started by, I think, Mitch Mitchell after he left Jimi Hendrix Experience. So my brother was over, and he's a jazzer, and he's a guitarist. He's a true jazz musician, really understands theory. So I play music that we can share together. So we listened to Hornets off of Sextant by Herbie Hancock today. This is absolutely a monstrous album where Herbie Hancock embraces electronics. Patrick Gleason, who is now a friend of mine and talks to me, this just blows my mind. People pick up on my social commentary, and this is what gets people to talk. John Denny of the punk rock band The Weirdos. I met them last year. We opened for them. He's commenting every day now. And so I started talking to him because it's like he just really is into the idea of waking up to the oligarchy that we live in. We don't live in a democracy. And it's just really pathetic how, because there's a side that is winning economically, we are told to eat shit and somehow say that the things that are happening with our government, that something good is coming from this. I love that people, musicians of all stripes that I listen to are my friends now. We listen to this. I met Herbie Hancock years ago. It's Miles Davis live. Live in Tokyo, 1975. My brother hadn't heard this. And of course my brother just loves Miles. And this is just really some fantastic Pete Cozy guitar work is on here. Really raw, scratchy shit. It's just awesome. My brother was telling me how he's been comping or learning by ear a particular track off this John McLaughlin album. Below Horizonte, beautiful album by John McLaughlin. But the track, he said, play Very Early, homage to Bill Evans. And it's a cycle, he explained, it's a cycle of chord changes that it's lovely. And it brings, as we listen to it, I love my family, you know. I just love my family. We're all very similar. As we're listening to the song, he just goes into it, and he's talking about how it takes him back to when he was a little boy, and how we would run through these fields of yellow flowers. Oh, I could feel it again. When he said it, it was like it just hit me. There's these memories, these beautiful memories, and how music and art unlock such wonderful parts of life. It's these moments are golden now, and these dreadful, I have to keep saying it, people, because I want some of you all who are not, I think some people are really brain dead. You have it so good, or you're so conditioned that you don't really recognize the horror of the current way the world is going. We're living in fucking Babylon, people. Do you hear me? I want to shout you out, Renee, out down in Brazil. Hell yes, man. I'm with you. Hell yes. This morning, I started out this morning before my brother came over, not knowing he was going to come over. It was something I read. I have stacks of old Mojos and Wire and Signal to Noise and magazines and books. I read all the time. And something I read about Marianne Faithfull, how when she was a child her father was a painter, and listened to Sketches of Spain by Miles Davis quite a bit. This came out in 1960, and this is an original 6-eye copy. I got this back through my father from another recently deceased famous writer for the Downbeat magazine, Will Smith. Got a few real collectible jazz albums through him and my dad. This, if you haven't heard this, this is the way she described it in this. It's an old Mojo magazine. I said, okay, yeah, I know this music, because he starts it with the Concerto by de Aranjuez by Rodrigo. But she says the marriage of jazz, classical music, and with dignity, with not class, but you know what I'm saying? And then when my brother came over, I played the whole album again today. So I've listened to this both twice today. If you don't know this, this is like, they talk about Kind of Blue by Miles Davis being one of those albums that you must hear. Well, this is also one of them. This is a true work of art with Gil Evans. Woo! Hell yes. Is there anything else done here? Well, yeah. This is a leftover from when I had the Steve Hackett out. I've played this to, I went out and shoveled myself out. Took me 2 days to shovel out before I could drive. And in between shoveling, I played this about 2.5 times. I love Chris Squire's bass playing. I love his melodicism, his voice, his writing. As I told you, I love Steve Hackett. And this album is fantastic, the whole album. There's a song on here called Aliens. I love it. Only aliens are only us from another time. I've had people who watch me say they would love to see me go into conspiracy theory, and the first thing I'll tell you is I won't do it like that, because that pisses me off that people, this is the unfortunate thing about it, is that how can the average person know that he's being manipulated into seeing the world certain ways unless they have experiences that show them. And then maybe sometimes when you know the truth about things, you still want to believe the lie because the truth is so unbelievable. And that's why all you have to do is do some studying, and you know that the conspiracy theory term was shoved psychological training onto the public through the government, basically CIA. I'll bust those bitches because they're behind a whole lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because you want to throw people off the trail when they're getting hot, talking about the dastardly shit that's really going on, that the people who are doing it need you to not know about so they can get on with their business. So not everything, and that's how it gets obfuscated, that conspiracy theory is mixed up with some hogwash, but quite a bit of that stuff where they talk about who really killed so-and-so, or the deep state, the stuff about where they give them these buzzwords that make people dismiss things, like conspiracy theory. And one of the conspiracy theory terms that makes people dismiss it or get interested is like Pizzagate. That shit is real. I have personal experience. I just recently have decided to be a little brave again and bring it up in public, because it's something that I'm not afraid, but I'm cautious because I know how ruthless, I know how real the powers, people who have the money, that's oversimplifying, but that's what it comes down to. You know, there's a lot of collusion between the authority figures, the government, and corporations and people with big money who run things. If you are the source of the resource, you know, if you own the thing that's running the wheels of society, after a while, to people who are dependent on you for their jobs and their riches, this is what's going on, people. They're saying, well, these people are too, we can't bust them. Everything will fall apart. This is what's going on. People who know this happens all the time. People who get hot on the trail of uncovering some horrible shit that's being done to us that we're paying for, and we're told, oh no, it's not. Those people's lives are ruined, you know, or they disappear, you know. It has a lot to do with why I listen to so much music, and why music is important, because music has been the gateway, as well as art, not just music, you know, people, you know, music is made by people, but it's this expression of humanity that has always allowed me to see that we have this deeper nature. I'm not even going to talk about the word hope, you know, for the future. Whatever's going to happen to this planet is going to happen. You know, our shit's going to slide into the shitter continually until I'm dead. You know, things aren't going to get any better while I'm alive, or you either. Oh, yes, they will. Tell me how, please. What have you been drinking, or what do you see? You know, maybe for individuals, we have individual things that we can be happy about. But again, I'm talking about this overall picture. You know what I'm saying? But it's been the beauty and the imagination and the universal tone of music and all kinds, all genres of music, including music that I will, you know, say I don't like the blues and country. Even those musics in their finest moments are bringing, it's the expression of the oneness, which again may sound like an egg-headed thing. But this is the engine that I'm running on that keeps me going, you know. And music and art, expressing it and listening to it and sharing it is a part of it. You know, if I believed the narrative that the mainstream media and that history has everyone following, you know, the way that we're being pushed into thinking that Russia's our enemy again. What? No problems with Russia. You know, again, I'm no expert. This is how it looks to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, I lose my train of thought, but it's all the same train of thought, you know, which is trying to see what's really going on, call a spade so I don't lose my mind, because life is tough, you know. Try to have a decent life, but life is survival. What's the latest statistic about car owners? That most car owners in America are 3 months behind in car payments. This is unheard of, you know. With that much of the stability of the infrastructure of, you know what I'm saying? Things are actually in collapse, but not, because everything is digital. So just as long as you can keep those numbers, you follow what I'm saying, people? Do I sound crazy? Because I'm not, you know. I'm not. I do like being able to share these thoughts with you. They just tumble out, you know. I lose my train of thought, but I'm still, like I said a few minutes ago, it's all about the same thing, which is being aware of the big lie of much of what goes on. You know, history goes to the victor. Whoever won the battle changes the story every damn time, okay? So people who try to come to me and say, well, you're wrong, Dereck. Well, you can't say that. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, I just say to them, well, you don't either, you know? Everyone's telling their version. This is my experience, so I'm telling it to you the way I see it, you know? Why in God's name should I change my what I say just because of what you're experiencing. I'm not experiencing it. I gotta say this because so many people are living like this. I was just hanging out earlier tonight with the drummer from RAF. More recording is happening. I'm done, but they're setting up with the guitar, so I went out to his little studio, and we were talking about some stuff, and he said something, and he immediately was concerned that I was offended, and I said to him, "Are you kidding me? All you said was something that's true. I'm not a numbskull idiot like the average person. Yes, I am saying it like that. It's like there's enough information and knowledge that more of us, you and me, we should be, I won't say should, but we have the knowledge and the tools available to do better at being so reactionary and emotional and immature, to be offended by everything. You notice how everyone is offended by everything. You can't think anything through, can't be objective. They take everything personal, can't stop and think about, hey, well, what's really going on? Or maybe when someone says something that offends you, but it's true, it's like, well, shit, deal with the fact that it's true. That's where I'm at about shit. If someone says something to me, and even if it's uncomfortable, if it's true, well, I need to know. You know what I'm saying? You know, it just completely blows my mind how continually all kinds of spin is being spun about the world. And I'm not showing much music, but you guys say you're interested in what I have to say, so I'm going to keep going. But the way that the media just spins stories, and the way that the whole Trump administration, it's like reality show. It just disgusts me how it's just got everyone in the grips because people love that damn TV, and his administration is playing out like the best television entertainment, or the best entertainment that money can buy. You know, and this is really a big part of what's going on with why people just can't turn away from the unbelievable every day. What the fuck now, you know? As opposed to saying, well, wait, you know, what do we? Let's get together, you know. So I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. I'm not a Republican. Okay, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. That shit is dead. So Bernie comes out and says, I'm running. Okay, so now there's all this stuff. People can't. The party, and then there's all these other people running. You know what I'm saying? It's like people say they're smart, but they're so. If you're so fucking smart, why can't more people see the bigger picture? Which is, can you choose one to get this fucking duplicity out? I mean, look at this jackass idiot who actually became the president. He weaseled his way in, and all of you, us supposedly smart, well-meaning people, can't find one decent motherfucker to get his ass out that we can all agree, okay, that's him. See what I'm saying? We are not. We need to real talk more like this and say, okay, let's stop the bullshit, okay? Put down the blunt for a second. Stop drinking. Stop trying to pick up so-and-so's wife. Or, you know what I'm saying? We're all so fucking distracted. That's why I love music, because I can be distracted by music and yet paying attention at the same time. And if anything, music helps to inform me to see more clearly. Does this matter at all? Fuck yes it does. Fuck yes it does. Oh yeah. Okay, so it does take hours for a video this long. It takes upwards of 6 hours, 4 or 5 hours. So I'm going to stop here. I wanted to shout somebody else out, and they haven't come to me. Oh, Sequoia Flame, David is back down in Florida making videos. The guy that laughs a lot. Do you know who Sequoia Flame is? Look him up. David is one of the people who way back heard me talking about wishing I could make an album, and just decided to get a hold of me and offered to loan me the money. It's because of David and a couple other people that I was able to start making vinyl albums. Just real quick, because some of you may not have seen these. These aren't all of them, but this is the one. Is this the red one? Yeah. This is the one that David and another fellow whose name escapes me right now, he's been long gone as far as I know from the vinyl community, but they loaned me the money. I had put this out on a CD and had come up with this artwork myself, Dereck number 3, my 3rd solo album. And I was just saying, well, I sure would like to get this out on vinyl. And Sequoia Flame got a hold of me and said, how much you need? And loaned me half of it, half of what I needed to get. It was supposed to be a run of 250 copies of this. Half of it, 125 in black, 125 in red, but they shorted me. So there's only 80 copies of this on red vinyl. They're all gone. See if you can find a copy of this on red vinyl. You can probably find a copy of it on black vinyl somewhere on like Discogs or something like that for sale. I've been out of sale. I have one black vinyl copy that extra that I will not get rid of for less than 80, 100 bucks, which most people say is, you're joking. I says, well, no, it's what it means to me, so I have an extra black copy. If you want it, then, you know, you give me your money. But Sequoia Flame is back. Thank you, David, for making this dream come true. This is online. This is me playing real instruments, too, as opposed to the last few things I've been doing, which is primarily MIDI, which still sounds fantastic. Some people have an attitude about MIDI. Listen to my shit. It sounds fantastic. I am considering, my setup is not good for recording live instruments right now. Latency. I got to get it fixed. I'm a bit lazy about it. But I am thinking about adding some guitar to my more recent tracks because people are saying, well, really like that guitar, really want to hear that guitar, you know. And I appreciate that. You know, I honestly, selfishly, what's been most important to me in these last probably 5 years with the software that I got has been the realization of the ideas more than whether or not I'm actually playing real instruments. It's been a real boon to me. I knew that if I could get a hold of a good MIDI rig, I could compose, and that's what it's allowing me to do. So I'm getting around to it, you know, putting some real instruments back on top of the MIDI for you guys, okay? It'll take me a minute because I have to get some help, you know. I have to get some things. Okay, that's what's going on. If you didn't check this out, Walter Whitney and Brett Held Hart, this is the latest thing I'm on. I'm on this. Pick it up.